Hello, my lovely humans, and welcome back to the Monorail Supply Co. podcast / YouTube page. You heard that right. I'm now on YouTube as well as on the podcasting platforms. So be sure to subscribe if you're not already. I'm Kenzie, I'm your host, and I'm so excited to be here with you today to discuss Disney's newest nighttime Christmas party at Hollywood Studios, Jollywood Nights. There is a lot of buzz around the Disney community right now with this event. So today I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you exactly what the party has to offer, what the reality of the event currently looks like, what some of the pain points are, and we're also going to talk through strategies and tips if you're attending the party and who the party is for. I'm also going to talk at the end if I feel like it is worth going to Jollywood Nights versus Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, or if you should attend both. Again, just my opinion, but it will be backed with all of the facts that I share throughout today's episode. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Let's get started. For those that do not know what Jollywood Nights is, it is a specially ticketed event at Walt Disney World during the Christmas holidays at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And the ticket price varies from $149 to $199 per person per night, depending on the date that you choose to go to. The closer you get to Christmas, the more expensive the tickets get. One interesting thing about this party that is definitely worth noting is that if you have kids and you want to bring them to the event, there is not a special ticket for kids. So the way that Walt Disney World typically does parties is there is a ticket that is cheaper for kids. So if you were to go to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, for example, there is a ticket option that is a little bit cheaper for kids, but there is not for this one. So you have to buy the adult ticket for everyone in your party. Disney describes this party as a dazzling event with beautiful decorations and amazing entertainment and a lot of glitz and glam, if you will. So it's supposed to have that old Hollywood charm, which fits really well into Disney's Hollywood Studios. And that's kind of the way that they've been marketing this event. For those that are unaware, this is the first time that Disney has ever had a Christmas party at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So this has been new for all of us, including Disney. And I think that you'll see throughout the theme of the information that I share, you can kind of tell that they have their training wheels on a little bit. But I do know that they are listening very closely to guest feedback and they are trying to improve for future parties. So I definitely can really just love Disney for that. The event dates are on select nights from November 11th to December 20th. So if your trip falls within those dates, you may be in luck and you may be able to get tickets to a party. Ticket holders can enter the event as early as 7 p.m. So if you do not have a park ticket that day, you can enter Disney's Hollywood Studios at 7 p.m. You do not need a park pass reservation if you plan on going at 7 p.m. or later. But if you do choose to go before 7 p.m., you will still need park passes for the remainder of this year. So keep that in mind. I think that it is really important to address the elephant in the room. If you've heard other reviews, there has been a lot of negativity about this event so far. But one thing to keep in mind is that the first couple of parties, especially that first party, there are a lot of media people there. There are a lot of social media influencers there. And it's not exactly the same that it would be if you were a paying guest on a normal night after those first few are kind of done. So we're going to kind of talk about that as we walk through the party offerings and the reality of what you can expect from this event. The event itself starts at 8:30 p.m. and it goes until 12:30 a.m. So it's not a super long event, but it is a lot of fun and it definitely does go a little bit late, but that is all part of the experience. As Disney was marketing this event to everyone, they really encouraged people to dress in their holiday best. They definitely encourage people to be glitzy and glammy and have fun with the theme of the event. And I will say that there are a lot of people that are kind of dressing to the nines for the event in really cute outfits and are looking very dapper. And some people are just choosing to wear festive t-shirts or even vintage Disney merchandise for Christmas or maybe they just aren't really wearing anything related to the party at all. And there are no requirements per se, so don't feel pressured to do one thing or another. It's just something to keep in mind if you feel like you want to get a little bit more dressed up for some of the fun photos that you can have to save as memories, then do it. But if you're kind of worried that maybe it'll make the event less enjoyable for you because you'll be uncomfortable, then you can skip out and just wear whatever you're comfortable wearing to the event. The first thing to note is that when it's time for the party, you need to get a wristband, and this party also has an exclusive lanyard as part of the event as well. The lanyard has a special QR code, and you can scan it so that you can see all of the offerings available at the party. They also will have special maps that they will be passing out with all of the information that you need to know in terms of where everything is and what times the shows are and everything like that. But I'll also be sure to cover all of that with you today. You wear the wristbands so that cast members know that you are a part of the party, and they can usher out the rest of the day guests that do not have the special ticket for the event, so that they can ensure that the people that are there are part of the event, so that you get that lower crowd feeling, especially for all of those attractions that are a part of this event. You can get your wristbands at one of 3 places within the park. So you can get it at the front when you enter the park. You can get it over at Star Wars Launch Bay, or you can get it over by Muppet Vision 3D. So there was a lot of buzz on the first night that there weren't enough spots to be able to get wristbands, but the good news is Disney has added those extra spots for you to be able to get them so that there are not long lines to get your wristbands anymore. So we love that Disney is listening to our feedback. So way to go, Disney, and thank you for that. Disney is known to have DJs at their holiday parties, and this party is no exception. It's always a good time because the DJ is always spinning holiday tunes and interacting with the crowd, and there's usually a lot of people that are dancing around the DJs and things like that. And this event is no exception. There are 2 locations with 2 different DJs. One is by the Chinese Theater and the other is by the Pixar Place. There are 2 shows at this event. The first is a sing-along, and it is themed after The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is called What's This? A Nightmare Before Christmas spirited sing-along. The show times for this sing-along are 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, and 11:30. The show itself lasts around 20 minutes. The sing-along is located at the Hyperion Theater, so if you're familiar with Hollywood Studios, it's the same theater that the Frozen sing-along is offered during the daytime. This is such an interesting show because there are 2 performers that are leading the show and they don't speak. So, okay, that might sound odd, right? But it's really not. In fact, rumor has it that these 2 performers are Cirque du Soleil performers from Drawn to Life, which is Disney's Cirque du Soleil show. And they are just incredible storytellers, and you don't even miss a beat. Like, you fully understand the story without them speaking, and it makes it really unique and very beautiful. And so I feel like it is absolutely worth seeing. They also play, of course, very popular songs from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and they have the lyrics up on the screen for you so you can sing along if you want to. There is a towering, huge Jack Skellington puppet that is a part of the show. In fact, I personally think it might be the same one that they use for the Halloween spectacular. And so that alone is definitely worth seeing the show, in my opinion. It is very cool to see. And Oogie Boogie comes out and makes a special appearance as well. Not many people were singing along as part of the show. It's unclear if it's because they weren't familiar with the songs from The Nightmare Before Christmas, or if it felt more like a show where maybe it shouldn't have been a sing-along. But either way, you're welcome to sing along, and the show is great whether you want to sing along or not, and I do recommend checking it out as part of the overall experience if you do go to Jollywood Nights. The second show is called Disney Holidays in Hollywood, hosted by Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog. The show times for this show are 8:45, 9:45, 10:45, and 11:45. The show itself lasts for about 30 minutes, and it is in the same theater as the Beauty and the Beast stage show during the day in Hollywood Studios, if you're familiar with the park. It's over by where the entrance to Fantasmic is as well, so you can't miss it. The concept of the show is super fun. It is that there is a live taping of a holiday special, and you're the live audience. So you get to be a part of the show. The show itself is clearly co-hosted by Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, as shown in the title, but there are other Disney characters that are also shown throughout the show. So you'll see Mickey, you'll see Minnie, you'll see Belle, and Princess Tiana as well. The show has a vintage flair, which fits in super well with the overall theme of Hollywood Studios. And honestly, it is a must-see show. It's definitely the highlight of the evening, and it is a number one must-do recommendation of mine for this event. It is important to note that the lines can get a little bit long for some of the shows, especially earlier in the evening. So be sure to build in some buffer time to get in line a little bit before the show starts. I would recommend anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if you're trying to go to one of the earlier shows. Granted, some of this could really change just depending on how the events transpire over, the next couple of weeks and months, but it's always good to give yourself a little bit of buffer time so that you don't miss out and so that you can get some prime seating as well. There is a special event called Jazzy Holidays at the Brown Derby. And this event is limited capacity, so you can walk over there, and if there is availability, they will seat you right away. And once it is full, if it gets full, then they will start using a virtual queue system. Again, this is one improvement they made after some of the commentary they were getting about the first event, and it really has helped a lot as far as the flow of people and the availability for this experience if it's something that you want to do as part of the event. The Brown Derby itself on the inside is very similar to what it's like during the day. There is a small part that is decorated for Christmas, and there is a piano player who's playing live music that is very talented and is a very amazing part of this experience. But it is interesting because at the initial parties, this piano player was not playing Christmas music, even though this is a Christmas event. He was just playing Disney tunes, but still really talented. I'm not sure if that will change over time as Disney is getting feedback from everybody. But as of now, that is kind of what is happening inside the Brown Derby as far as entertainment is concerned. There are several food and drink items available for purchase at the Brown Derbies. That's essentially what this special experience is you go in, you can listen to the piano player, and you order food and drinks. The food itself are a little bit more on the small bite size, but they are larger portions than some of the other options at the event itself. And then, of course, they have a specialty cocktail menu and other assorted food and beverages that you can purchase as part of this experience. I will say that this part of the event, if you do choose to do it, does take up a lot of your time. This party is not very long. It's only 4 hours. And if you do choose to sit down and do the experience at the Brown Derby, it's great because you can actually sit down and order food and have all of that. But the downside is that it does eat up a lot of your party time. So my overall recommendation is to consider skipping this part of the event, as there are many other fun things that you could do with that 4 hours outside of this part of the event. None of the food or drink offerings are really all that special, and I just don't really think it's the best use of your time for the event. But of course, you know you and your family best, so do what feels right to you. Another special part of this experience that you can experience at this event is something called the Twilight Soiree at the Top Club, and this is near the Tower of Terror. The event itself is at the Hollywood Tower Hotel courtyard. So essentially, it's where you exit the attraction, sort of near the gift shop and the Joffrey's cart. I have to be honest, when I read about this online as part of the experience, as part of the marketing materials that Disney was promoting before anyone experienced the actual event, this is something that I was super excited for. It sounded very cool to be experiencing like live music and this fun experience right outside of the Tower of Terror. But unfortunately, it has not had the best reviews. Now, let me start off by saying that the entertainment is A+++++. So good. The band that was there was extremely talented, and I could listen to that music all night. I will say, though, that the set is only 15 minutes long. So if you stay for 15 minutes, you've heard all of the songs on the set list. Disney has 3 specialty cocktails available to purchase as part of this part of the experience. Although I will say that honestly, I've not heard the best reviews about the cocktails that are available for purchase as part of this experience. So just take that into account if you are looking to try some special cocktails as part of your experience. The biggest downside to this part of the experience is exactly where they kind of chose to put this part of the event, in the sense that there's just not a lot of room for people to go. So people were very crammed in a small spot. They couldn't really move around or really get the full experience of the band or enjoying their drinks, just because there was not enough space where they chose to put it. So anyway, that was kind of the biggest hurdle that a lot of people had to overcome as part of this experience. But I do recommend going over to check out the band at the very least, and maybe considering checking out a cocktail as well. Just keep in mind it may be crowded, and just set your expectations appropriately. And if you do, I think you'll still have a good time at this portion of the event. Another big part of this event are, of course, the specialty characters. What is a Disney party without some fun specialty characters? Now, keep in mind that the lines for these specialty characters can get a little bit long, so it is important to kind of pick the top ones that you do want to see and the ones that you do want to meet the most, so that you can prioritize accordingly. I will definitely go through the ones that are the most popular as we move through the list, so that you have a good feeling of who those individuals are. Another important thing to note about this experience is that Disney is doing something a little bit unique at this party that they typically don't do. And that is that characters are sharing lines. So for example, you may get in line because you see Mickey in his cute holiday costume and you're like, I want to see Mickey. But by the time you get to the front, you might be meeting Minnie. And so they're doing that as characters obviously need to take breaks and they interchange them. But by the time you get to the front of the line, it might not be the character you were hoping to meet. And they're doing this with quite a few of the characters. So I'll be sure to go over which ones qualify for that as well. One more thing to note before I get into the character lists are that if it is raining, the characters will not be meeting outside for the ones that are outside, which are the majority of them. And so if there is rain in the forecast for your event, then definitely try to prioritize the characters when there are breaks in the rain. If there are breaks in the rain, fingers crossed for everybody. And just make sure you try to take advantage accordingly as much as you possibly can. The rain also goes for any outdoor entertainment. All of that will stop if there is rain. So don't be going over somewhere looking for it if it's raining, because it won't be out. But if there are long enough breaks in the rain, the entertainment will come back out. In the animation courtyard, you can find Mickey and Minnie alternating in one line. You can also find Donald and Daisy, who are alternating in one line. And you can also find Goofy and Pluto alternating in one line as well. So again, by the time you get to the front of the line, it could be either one of those two options. Inside of Pixar Place, Edna Mode is greeting, as well as Frozone. And those are two separate lines, so you know who you're getting in line for those. At Grand Avenue, you have Snow White and Dopey, who are alternating with Mary Poppins and a penguin waiter. So that's one of those lines where you don't know which two you're going to get. It could be either of those groupings. So make sure you note that. Near the Chinese Theater, you will find Jiminy Cricket, who is alternating with Pinocchio. You will also find Santa Stitch, who is absolutely adorable. So I do recommend checking Stitch out if you are a fan of Stitch. Around Echo Lake, there are a lot of very popular characters. In fact, this is where you're going to find the characters with the highest wait times. Chip and Dale will be meeting in their Rescue Rangers costumes, which of course they are so adorable, and that one is so much fun. In front of Peevee's Frozen Concoctions, you can find Powerline Max, which again is another semi-rare character, except for obviously being able to see him a little bit at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. So be sure to take some time to meet him if that's important to you. And then in front of 50's Primetime Cafe, there is Phineas and Ferb, which is a very rare meet and greet. And so the line for that one took the cake and has been the longest line of any of the other character meet and greets. And it was really anywhere ranging from 45 minutes to 120 minutes throughout the night. So if you do want to meet Phineas and Ferb, definitely be prepared to wait a little bit for them. At the Mickey Short Film Theater, you can meet a Santa Duffy as well. The waits for the special characters can get long, but towards the end of the night, they do tend to be a little bit lower. So that is something to keep in mind for your planning. Of course, there is a risk that if you do that and it starts to rain, you may not get to meet them. Or if you cut it too close and the line's too long and they cut off the line, you may not have an opportunity to meet the character as well. So just something to take into account when you're planning, but you can definitely find some lower wait times as the night progresses. Another huge benefit of this event is all of your PhotoPass pictures that are taken throughout the night are free to download for up to 45 days. So that's a lot of fun if you don't have Memory Maker, and you can save all of your magical memories throughout the night with the characters and of course the special PhotoPass opportunities that Disney has throughout Hollywood studios. There are also several magic shot opportunities, and for those of you who are not familiar with what magic shots are, the PhotoPass photographer may say, hey, point over there, but there's nothing over there, and they say act surprise, for example. And then later they will put something into that picture. So when you download it, it's kind of a surprise, and they add something, fun with the Disney flair into the photograph for you. So as far as those PhotoPass opportunities, I will quickly go through all of them with you so that it will hopefully help you prioritize which ones that you want to do as part of your evening and your experience. The first one is in front of the Chinese theater over by Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and it is a magic shot opportunity where they will put in a gingerbread cookie that is kind of like a jazz musician, if you will, and they will put instruments in your hands that also look like gingerbread cookies. So that is a fun magic shot experience. On Sunset Boulevard, there is a magic shot experience where you can take a photo and Miss Piggy and Kermit will be added, and you'll be holding a physical present that says Jollywood Nights on it. And that's also another cute magic shot experience. On Hollywood Boulevard, there is another PhotoPass opportunity with that present that says Jollywood Nights on it that you can take a picture of, and that is not a magic shot, so it will just be the present itself. In Galaxy's Edge, there is a special photo experience with the theme of Life Day, so you have that glowing ball in your hands, and that's great for any Star Wars fan. And over at the exit of the Tower of Terror, there is a Twilight Soiree special photo experience for you if you're interested in capturing that as well. Another huge benefit of this experience is there are several attractions that are open and available to you with very short wait times. If you have been to Disney in the past couple of years, you probably know that Hollywood Studios is a really hard park to tour in the sense that the wait times are always extremely high, and it makes it really hard to get a lot of things done without having to kind of sit through several really long lines throughout the day. So if you want to include rides as part of your overall experience, you can definitely do that with shorter wait times overall. Unfortunately, not all of the attractions are open as part of this experience, but you will be able to experience Tower of Terror, as well as Rock and Roller Coaster, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Slinky Dog Dash, Toy Story Mania, Smuggler's Run, and Rise of the Resistance. There is a caveat to Rise of the Resistance, though. If you do want to experience Rise of the Resistance, you have to join the virtual queue. And the drop happens at 8 p.m., so before the official party start time, and you can join it on your My Disney Experience app. You do not have to be in the park in order to join, so that is fantastic news. Of course, with the virtual queue, you never know when your callback time is really going to be. You don't get to choose it. It kind of chooses you, and you only have an hour window to return to redeem that virtual queue as well. There will not be a standby line at all, and so if you don't have the virtual queue, you cannot experience the attraction, and you can only experience it once. So that is something that is super important to know if you do want to ride Rise of the Resistance during the party. One thing that Disney typically always has as part of their party experience is exclusive merchandise. And unfortunately, this party only has one thing that's exclusive to the party, and that is a t-shirt that says Jollywood Nights. It's super cute, but it also goes super fast. And as far as the parties that have already happened, they've gone really, really quickly. And so if you do want that t-shirt, definitely prioritize that earlier in the night so that you are able to get it in the size that you need it. Another thing that will be available is something called Sunset Greetings, and this happens during normal park hours as well. So it's not necessarily something that I would prioritize, but it is available if it's something that you want to experience. Essentially, there are different projections that happen on the Tower of Terror, along with some Snope, which is basically Disney's version of snow. And it is pretty magical, but again, something you can experience during normal park hours. So I wouldn't go out of your way to prioritize it in your plans. Of course, because this is a special party, there will be tons of special food, beverages, and cocktails available for purchase throughout the evening in several different locations. Pretty much everywhere, I feel like there is a little bit of something. One thing to note, though, is that these are small bites. In fact, they are even smaller than most small bites at Epcot food festivals, which is definitely a little bit interesting. So just go in with the expectations that these portions are going to be extremely small. I do recommend eating before this event, just in case you don't want to wait in lines for these smaller food items, and then maybe you can just get a couple while you're there, but definitely something important to note. Outside of ABC Commissary, there will be some Latin food items available that are inspired by different holiday traditions that they have, and they are all relatively pretty good, and they are a little bit bigger on the portion size compared to some other areas at the event. Baseline Tap House also will have some small bites, and they have a beer margarita as well available for purchase. Dockside Diner has some small bites as well as a whiskey cocktail drink. They also have some cookies and some hot chocolate available as well. Epic Eats has various funnel cakes available in different flavors, and they're all holiday inspired, which is super fun. They also will have some festive flavored beers. Fairfax Fair will also have some donuts, a martini, and some other small bites. Gertie's ice cream is guaranteed to have some sort of line because there is an adorable Gertie sugar cookie that matches, of course, that cute little dinosaur with her little Santa hat as part of the experience. And it's also available with mint soft serve as well. So definitely be sure to check that out if you're interested in something like that. The market has various spring rolls, macaroons as well. And they even have some ciders too. Pizza Rizzo has several flatbreads. They have different wines and beers and other small bites available as part of the experience for purchase. The Twilight Soiree, again, has those 3 drinks that are specialty cocktails that are available for purchase. The Trolley Cart Cafe has a dark chocolate mousse available. Several outdoor vending locations have gingerbread bites available as well. At the various bar locations throughout Hollywood Studios, there is a 0-proof gingerbread spritzer that is available. They also have sugar cookies and a special martini. At the Hollywood Brown Derby, at that special event that they are having inside, there are several food items, including oysters and duck, charcuterie, sliders, shrimp, tuna, bao, and an assortment of drinks. The Joffrey's coffee stands will also have a special coffee martini available that is holiday themed, and they also have a non-alcoholic coffee gingerbread drink also available. There is one show that is available as part of the party as far as a fireworks spectacular is concerned. It is called Jingle Bell Jingle Bam. You might be familiar with it because it was actually available during the holiday season before the pandemic started. It used to be available for free for all guests that had tickets to Hollywood Studios, and it is the exact same show. No updates have been made and nothing has changed to it. The show starts at 12:30 a.m., so it is the last thing that the party will offer before the party ends. And it is kind of a mix of some fireworks and lasers and projections and some Snope, all kind of mixed to some lively holiday music. So that's what to expect from that show as well. Now that you know what the party offers, I'd love to go into some overall tips and strategies for you in order to make the most of your experience if you do plan on attending this event. And at the end, I will wrap it up with who I feel this party is for and if I feel like the party is worth it. The first tip goes for any Disney party. Make sure you arrive early and you get your wristband as early as you can so that you're not eating up party time waiting for a wristband. Remember, you can enter as early as 7 p.m. without a park ticket for the day, so make sure you take advantage of that. Another thing that I always recommend doing is make sure that you eat before the event starts. So again, you're not using that special event time to eat a meal before you start the event itself. You can also use that early hour if you choose to enter at 7 to get a quick bite to eat before starting as well if you'd like. It usually takes a little bit of time for the day guests to kind of filter out of the park. And so the wait times for the attractions will probably remain high for at least the first hour, if not a little bit longer. So just kind of keep that in mind as far as when you're trying to plan when to do attractions. If that's part of what you would like to do as part of your overall experience, you may have to wait, for the first hour or two for those wait times to really die down for you to be able to take full advantage of the shorter wait times for the attractions. Just like any Disney party, I recommend that you prioritize your must-dos. What your must-dos are going to be different from someone else. And so take a look at everything that is offered, everything we just went over, and figure out what's most important to you and your family or your friends or whomever you're going with. And make sure you prioritize and do the things that are most important to you as soon as you can, just so that you're sure you can get them done and that you have some buffer time in case you have to go to a different showtime, for example, or do things later in the evening because of rain or whatever. So make sure you have a plan, but be flexible with that plan, but know what's most important to you and know that you cannot get everything done in one party. That is impossible. So don't set your expectations that way. Really choose like 3 things that you really want to do, and then add in some extras that would be bonus if you were able to get them done as well. My recommendation is to always look at the show times and then work your schedule around those show times and kind of pick which one you think you're going to want to go to, and then work the other things that you may want to do as part of the experience in between, whether it's try certain food items or see special characters or ride attractions. You can kind of work those in between the things that are set in stone, and that's usually a great way to get things done. Also, please do not forget that the Rise of the Resistance virtual queue opens at 8 p.m. So be sure to join that right away if that's something that is important to you to do as part of your party experience. When you're looking at food as part of this experience, be sure to check the menus in advance and see what looks good to you and pick a couple of things. Just know that you're probably going to have to wait a little bit for each of the food items. I would say give yourself at least 20 to 30 minutes per thing that you would be waiting for. Of course, if you don't have to wait that long, that's great. That's what you hope for, but you might have to. And so just plan accordingly with that and just kind of keep that in mind when you're kind of picking how many things you would like to try. Mobile food ordering is not available at the event, so unfortunately that is not something that you can do as part of the experience. And ABC Commissary and Fairfax Fair have food items that I would say have the largest portions, and they also have the most variety. So if that's something that's important to you, then keep that in mind and maybe check those places out. My overall recommendation is to skip the event at the Brown Derby and to consider also skipping out on the drink line over at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Maybe just experience the band over there since the drinks aren't really necessarily worth it. But of course, it's totally up to you. But if you're looking at things to cut because there are so many options, those are 2 things I would consider cutting from the overall experience, as well as the rides, because again, you can ride rides anytime, even if you're not at a party. You may have to wait a little bit longer, but they are available outside of the event. Focus on the party specific event things that you really want to do. I would say definitely prioritize the 2 shows and maybe some of the special character meet and greets and maybe a couple of the different snacks. And of course, you want to experience that live band over at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. But those are some recommendations if you're looking for things to cut to save yourself some time. Now that I've told you exactly what the party entails and exactly what to expect from the party, and hopefully have helped you prioritize some of the different offerings, I would love to kind of talk a little bit more about if I feel like the party is worth it, and also just my overall opinion on if you feel like you should attend this party versus Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party at Magic Kingdom, and who I think this party is for. Overall, if you are trying to choose between Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and Jollywood Nights, I would recommend Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party over this event. One thing to note is that you don't really get anything for free for this event. Of course, you're paying to go to the event, but even at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, there are some free things that are a part of the event. Like, for example, you get Halloween candy is part of the Halloween event, or the Christmas party at Magic Kingdom, you get Christmas cookies and things like that. But at this event, nothing is for free. Everything you have to buy yourself out of pocket. And overall, the quality of the food and drinks is really not that great. I will say that you do get a free drink coaster at the end of the event. But for example, at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, they've given out a holiday ornament as part of the experience. So, it's kind of maybe not as exciting, but I guess it just depends who you ask. In comparison to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, that event is longer than Jollywood Nights. There are more specialty characters. There is a parade. There is a huge fireworks show that is absolutely spectacular and amazing. There's more entertainment. There's more to do. You get the free cookies, you get the ornament, and it's just more grand on the scale, and it feels maybe a little bit more special than Jollywood Nights does. And you get more for what you're paying for. And in fact, most nights it's actually cheaper than Jollywood Nights, which I find very fascinating. So again, you kind of get more bang for your buck at the other Christmas party than Jollywood Nights. Another really important thing to note is I do not feel like young kids would enjoy this party at all. In fact, I would recommend that you do not bring younger kids to this event, as I do not see how they could possibly really have a good time. The shows aren't really for kids. They're a little bit more, I would say, adult in nature. So it's great if you're older, but if you do have kids, just something to keep in mind. There's also like a really big kind of like cocktail party atmosphere going on that it's probably not as conducive to kids and their enjoyment of the overall experience, which again, I think is represented in the price of the tickets. They're almost kind of making this more for, I think, older people that are going to Disney, or adults without kids, or adults that are looking to have a night without their kids, or older kids, or, younger teens or whatever. But again, I think younger kids would have a harder time. The Very Merry Christmas Party has plenty to do for kids if you have younger kids, and so they can have a good time. At this one, there's not as many options for them. So overall, is this party worth it? Well, I think that's a question you kind of have to ask yourself, of course. You are looking at anywhere from $149 per person to $199 per person. You get 2 shows, 2 live bands, no included treats. Again, all of the food and beverage offerings you have to purchase yourself, and you get a free coaster. And of course, you get to ride some attractions with hopefully some lower wait times as well. So really, that's a very personal question that you have to ask yourself. I feel like if you're looking for something new and exciting to do, and you have, some extra money to spend on your trip, then maybe it is something to consider. But if you are looking to maybe only go to one party, I would definitely go to the other one. I think overall, though, this event is something that Disney will continue to improve upon. This is the first iteration of a brand new event. They've never done an event at Disney's Hollywood Studios for Christmas before. And I do think that they're going to continue to improve upon it. I do think they're going to listen to guest feedback. And in fact, I do feel like we're going to see improvements throughout the season. These earlier parties definitely had a hard time. And of course, I feel for anyone that went to some of these earlier ones that had all of these hiccups. But hopefully over this Christmas season, it will continue to improve. And if you have tickets, I wouldn't panic. Just go into it with an open mind. Maybe set your expectations a little bit low. Make sure they're realistic. And I think you can still have fun. You just can't go in with super high expectations, and you can't go in thinking that everything's going to be perfect or that you're going to be able to get everything done. But that goes for every kind of Disney event. So you can still have a magical time. Just set your expectations appropriately and just look for the magic, because it's there. I know that Disney cares and is asking for guest feedback. In fact, people that have gone to events have gotten surveys. And so Disney's taking it very seriously. They're paying attention, and they are looking to improve on the event. So I do give a lot of props to Disney for caring and for trying to improve upon what they have built so far. So now I hope you have all the information that you need to decide if Jollywood Nights is right for you. And if you are going, I hope you feel more confident in understanding exactly what the offerings are and what your strategy should look like. If you feel like I met your expectations and offered exactly what I promised, it would mean so much if you would subscribe. Whether you're listening on the podcast or on YouTube, it would just mean the world to me. If you'd like to connect on a deeper level, then consider joining my Patreon community. I create extra content just for you that's even more personalized, more behind the scenes, and you get even more special Disney planning content. The link to join will be in the show notes or in the description for YouTube. Until next time, may your caffeine be strong. May the force be with you always. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you real soon.